Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the OTT.X Wednesday webinar series. On behalf of myself, Eric Hansen, and all of us here at OTT.X, we are so happy you're joining us today, whether you're watching live or on demand. It's a privilege to share with you the experience, insights, and wisdom from the people that are shaping the OTT CTV industry. Many of us are interested in finding ways to apply AI in our lives and businesses, but just exactly how is that done and where can AI be applied? It is indeed a brave new world, and one where having support from those with experience and technical expertise is essential to help navigate. Thankfully, we've got a couple of folks just like that. They're so AI'd up, they even have AI in their name, Symphony AI from Symphony AI. We're joined today by Ashley Kindsvatter, Senior Director of Product Management, and Ray Gilmartin, Director of Product Marketing for Symphony AI, for a discussion about how AI can help analyze, predict, and optimize content performance to enable faster and smarter content investment and distribution decisions. Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to you. You all set? Got
I think
the
so.
the sharing machine ready to roll?
Yeah, can you see my slides?
Looks great. Fantastic.
Perfect. Thank you, Eric. So just to reiterate, make sure we're all in the right place. So we are Symphony AI, and this is the Maximize Profits with AI-powered content analytics webinar. As Eric mentioned, my name is Ray Gilmartin. I'm the Director of Product Marketing. Joining me is Ashley Kindsvatter, Senior Director of Product Management at Symphony AI. And a little bit of housekeeping. We will be doing a Q&A session at the end today. So if you have any questions, please feel free to enter them into the app here, and we'll try to answer as many as we can at the end. And if there's any that we can't get to, we will be sure to follow up with you directly. So a little bit about background about who we are. So I think the best way to dive into this slide with so many words on it is to start at the lower left-hand corner. So, who are we? So we all know, I think if you're like me, kind of when most people started really thinking and paying attention to AI was probably 2022, when ChatGPT and OpenAI came about. But we predate that. So as a company, we were founded in 2017. So we've been doing it thinking about it longer than most folks, right? So we are a privately held company, pre-IPO, based and headquartered in Palo Alto, California. Our founder is Dr. Ramesh Wadhwani, and I encourage any of you, very interesting, fascinating entrepreneur, to do some research into his background and his many businesses and successes. Our CEO is Sanjay Dhawan. And we are backed by $1 billion AI fund as being part of this organization. So what differentiates us from a lot of what you're hearing out in the AI industry is our focus on the specific verticals that we address. So we have them listed here: media, which is the reason we're all here today, retail and CPG, which we actually address as in one of our 5 divisions of our companies together: financial services, industrial, and enterprise IT. So the vision of the company is to accelerate revenue growth and unleash mission-critical business productivity through generative and predictive AI. So if any of you were at NAB this year and you walked the show floor, you might have seen that AI was the big buzz there at the show, but largely on the content production side of things and not so much on monetization. We were there and we actually introduced what we're going to be showing you today that we're very proud to show you is our media copilot, AI copilot, which we'll be showing you shortly. But I think, what we learned also at the show is that there's a wide range of understanding around AI in the media and media entertainment segment. So some folks are experts, a lot of folks, it's new to them. So just to sort of get us on a level playing field, we offer both a generative AI and predictive AI solution. So, what is the difference between the two? So, generative AI is really about, it's using sophisticated modeling to create text and images and video and audio and software code based on user prompts, basically. So I think probably a lot of us with tools like ChatGPT, that's our first familiarity with generative AI. Predictive AI, on the other hand, it uses large data repositories to recognize patterns. So it's all about the patterns, and from those patterns, drawing inferences, drawing insights, suggesting future outcomes and future trends. So we do both, and we'll be showing you that shortly in our demo. The mission of the company is to build the leading enterprise AI SaaS company focused on these particular verticals that I mentioned here. And we'll dive into this a little bit more. So we are the leader in AI with this deep vertical expertise. So we're the culmination of several different companies, several different divisions, each that individually were experts focused in their particular area. And I'm going to dive into media in just a moment. We have over 2,000 customers worldwide. We serve the top 15 grocery retailers in the world, top 25 consumer packaged goods companies, 200 of the top financial institutions, and most relevant for this audience, 20 of the top 30 media and entertainment companies. We are the industry leader, as I mentioned, in generative and predictive AI, and we offer our own architecture, which is called Eureka Generative AI Architecture, which I will show you, which really drives all of what we're going to be seeing today around AI. And we differentiate ourselves by this focus on our verticals. You know, for an example is the large language models, for example. So they're built by other kind of, non-differentiated horizontal AI platforms. They've trained their models on whatever data they can get off the web, basically. What we've done is we've focused our large language models on language that's specific to each one of our industries. So the simple example that I think of is fast, right? So fast obviously has a very different meaning for the rest of the world. Try explaining what a fast platform is to your kids, or somebody who's not in the industry. That has a very particular meaning for us. So we've trained our model based on language, based on our experience in this space. And I will go into that experience in just a second. And we're not a new company, and we're not a small company. We have over 2,400 employees across 33 countries. So another thing that we picked up on at NAB and elsewhere is, SymphonyAI, and Eric, you even said it up front. So we have AI in our name, and people question, are you an AI company or are you a media company? And in fact, what I've learned over the years is two things can be true at the same time, and that's one of those things. So we are both a media company and an AI company. In fact, we were in the media space for decades before we were in the AI space, basically. As a brief history of the company. So we were founded in 1985 when Ronald Reagan was still president. Unbelievably not, and I can't wait till next year, so I can just say 40 years instead of 39, but 39 years ago. We started off as an audit services company, which we still provide these services today. It's a large portion of our business for content providers, providing their content to traditional linear platforms like cable and satellite platforms. And then over the years, these same customers said, hey, in addition to just auditing these various platforms on our behalf, can you help us manage the revenue that we're bringing in from these platforms? So we developed initially our SaaS-based solutions for our own services team to help these organizations manage their revenue. And then over time, the same customers said, hey, we'd like our own people to be doing this. It's great that you provide this service. Can we also have our own people doing it? So to date now, we continue to offer our audit services, our managed services, but on top of this, we commercialized our SaaS-based application. The name is Revidia. It's the combination of revenue and media. So then thus the name Revidia. I think that might have been Ashley's call. I'm not sure. But we've been serving with our Revidia platform, the linear folks for about 10 years now, and about 2 years ago on the digital side. So adding support for all the streaming platforms and all the streaming platforms and the streaming formats with FAST and AVOD and SVOD and TVOD, in addition to all the legacy platforms. So that's who we are. So we're not young, we're not new, we have expertise, and it's these experts that have built built the intelligence behind the AI to specifically address the needs of this industry. So I talked that this is our hero slide. So I talked about some of our customers. So on the left-hand side, we have our media customers that we've served over the decades. We serve 20 of the top 30 media companies. And then if you're moving left to right, 30 of the top 50 grocery retailers, including the top 15 of those 50. All 25 of the top consumer packaged goods companies are our customers, and 33 of the top financial institutions. So one advantage that we have is that we have this Eureka platform, the Eureka AI technology that is the underpinning behind our solutions across all of these industries. So one great advantage that we have is that media is younger to add. We just introduced our AI Copilot at NAB this year, but for retail has been doing it, for example, for quite a while. Finance has been doing it. So we're able to leverage the innovations that have been made on behalf of these other industries for our industry. So retail, for example, big retailers, they're all trying to maximize profits. You've got your Doritos. You need, if anybody here went to business school, you learn about the 4 Ps, like product, price, promotion, and place or distribution. So you've got all these factors. How can you maximize, your sales of your Doritos through shelf placement, through promotions, through pricing, through all of that? So our AI technology brings that all in, analyzes it, and helps advise some of the grocers just basically on how to maximize profit within their industry. So when you think about it, I think what we do is a lot more interesting than Doritos, but at the end of the day, it is a product. So utilizing the same functionality to understand all of these moving components to maximize your distribution and your content investment decisions. On the finance side, it's a little bit different. So on the finance side, it's more about looking security. So looking for anomalies, abnormalities that could trigger that there's a security issue. So interestingly, though, you can see parallels with reporting back to on the media side of things, like suddenly some type of piece of genre, some type of genre content on a particular platform in a particular region is outperforming expectations, right? So being able to react to that, understand it, and potentially making more like content available on that platform in that region. So it's not a security issue, but it is an alert, right? And so keeping you up to date on the performance of your content. So how AI fits into all of this and fits into what you're doing. So this is from a recent study from Goldman Sachs from March of 2024. So this was more on the production side of things, but it just sort of shows how our industry is adopting AI. So from this study back in October of last year, respondents, about 14% of respondents said that they were utilizing AI in production. And then 5 months later, that's gone up to close to 16%. And then the same respondents were asked if they expect to be utilizing AI by September 2024, and about close to 23% said they do expect it. So that just demonstrates some of the growth. But I think, as far as I know, we're probably the only organization that's really focused on trying to putting together a study and outreach and trying to understand adoption within the monetization space of AI. So this is from a white paper that we produced in January of this year in association with Parks Associates. So, interesting statistic that came from this was 1 in 3 of the industry executives who were interviewed, and we interviewed 50 plus executives in this space, if they plan to use AI for content acquisition and production or ad targeting and optimization this year. And what we heard back from respondents was very interesting. If you dive down into the specifics about what their future plans were for making use of AI over the next year, a majority, 58%, said they plan to utilize AI in content recommendations and personalization for viewers, but also 37% content acquisition and production decisions, 34% ad targeting and optimization, financial modeling at 29%. So we are seeing adoption here, and we're very proud and glad to be on the forefront of this as a leader in this space. And if you'd like to learn more about the study, you can go to our website and you can download it there. And we actually did, with our friends here at OTT.X, a webinar back in January with Parks on this topic. And that is, you can either check it out on OTT.X's website in their VOD section or on our webpage under our videos. So I encourage you to learn more about that study there. So looking kind of like our approach towards AI, it's all about being timely, being accurate, being actionable. So I think the best way to kind of dive into this is to look at the visual, the graphic over on the right-hand side. So if you go down to the bottom, BI, the lower left-hand corner, business intelligence, these are the systems that we've all sort of experienced, we've all grown up with. They're good at explaining what happened, describing what happened, and giving you information that you can react to. So that's kind of the world that we're coming from. But when you layer AI on top of that, beginning with generative AI, you can not only understand, what happened, but why did it happen? So using natural language, which we'll demo for you, you can ask real language questions and get the more detail as to, why it happened. And then also, you can prepare yourself by, working with the system to trigger you if something unusual happens, right? So, that back to that example again about a piece of genre, unexpectedly performing well. You can be signaled for that and be able to be more proactive versus reactive to the information that you're getting. So layer on top of generative, predictive. So that's when it really starts to get interesting. So, not only understanding what happened, why did it happen, but what might happen next, right? Given all the information that's being fed, you can interact with the system and say, what could happen steady state if we keep doing what we're doing? What's my revenue going to look like, 3, 6, 9, 12 months out? But not only that, but hey, based on what you've learned, what do you recommend? What should I do next around my content and distribution decisions, right? And then even more interestingly, so not only what the recommendations that it makes, but hey, scenario testing out different scenarios. So if I were to make this particular change in this particular area, what can I expect my revenue to be back? My revenue to be back, or my results to be? So that's when it really starts to get interesting. And this is the engine that we're building and that we've introduced most recently with our Media Copilot. And then ultimately, the vision, it's kind of scary for some, the autonomous future that we're all headed towards. So you've got systems that, we don't have this yet, but you can envision where you can constantly be analyzing, the data that's coming in, and the system can actually make recommendations, and not only recommendations, but take actions. And it's even hard to understand like what that would look like in our space, but it's the future, right? So not being reactive, being proactive, and instantaneously making actions with guardrails, obviously, that would be set up. So speaking of guardrails, so with our approach to AI, we sort of have a couple guidelines that we adhere to. So first, make it intuitive, make it easy to use, right? So it's very intuitive, and we'll be showing you that in a moment. Very easy to use, and also best-in-class guarantees around privacy, around security, around compliance, and just being responsible, right? So we know the power of AI, and it's everyone's talking about it. So those are some guiding principles that we're living by as we develop our AI technology. Some of gearheads out there want to see the architecture, right? So as I mentioned, we have 5 different industries that we serve. So we have co-pilots for each one. It's all part of our Eureka Gen AI platform, right? So The interface, we offer multiple different levels within our Eureka platform. So there's the actual UI, so the interface, the co-pilots for leveraging all this powerful AI technology, the Gen AI skills and agents, the large language model platform that I mentioned, machine learning, which drives the predictive capabilities, and then the data platform, so things like knowledge graphs and all kind of the skeleton behind the scenes of how to make all of this work and handling that type of volume of data. Making all this happen, we have over 100 data scientists within our organization. We have over 30 patents specifically around our Eureka Gen AI technology. So that's kind of a little bit of where we are from a company. Now, speaking more specifically about Revidia. So again, kind of a marketecture of our Revidia offering. So it's really, at the end of the day, on the top, it's all about bringing data in from all these various platforms around performance data and revenue data, content, legal, distribution. So, you know, you've got your streaming platforms, your channel origination platforms, third-party platforms, ad tech, ERPs, you know, additional third parties, you know, rights, legal information, CDNs and performance information around and distribution information. So pulling that all in, with Revidia, we ingest it, we normalize it, we aggregate it into our data lake. From there, we provide the tools for our customers to perform, you know, to analyze their business, to manage their revenue, to analyze the performance of their business. We provide the dashboards and the easy reporting capabilities to sort of see what's happening and report out both internally and externally on performance. And then you layer in the AI part. So prediction, utilizing AI, helping to optimize programming scheduling. And then the kind of that window into all of this is what we introduced at NAB, which is our Media Copilot. And the customers, the actual people within the organizations that we work with that utilize our tools, it's really the finance folks, accounting analysts, legal folks, operations, both licensing and the finance operations folks, anyone involved with acquiring content, distribution, sales, distribution sales, scheduling folks. And again, because we're making it easy to use, it's natural language, it understands, you know, the human language, basically, it can be used by anyone. So C-suite on down, you know, you don't have to be a data scientist to utilize this. You can be a real human being, you know, to do research and planning. Basically, you know, that's the solution. So what I've been told over my lifetime, it's better to show than to tell. So I'm going to stop telling. I'm going to ask Ashley if she can step in and show you folks what we've recently launched at NAB. Ashley?
Great, thanks, Ray. I am sharing my screen. And can you see it?
I can see it, yeah.
Excellent. So I really want to highlight that our AI technology is really specific, as Ray went through. You know, it really translates into something that is meaningful for the media and entertainment space. I think that's what really differentiates our AI technology. And in order to do that, we have to make sure we have the fundamental data. So as Ray mentioned within Revidia, we really focus on that standardization normalization. In this space, it is unfortunately the wild, wild west. I think, as we all see, the data is very inconsistent. Sometimes you get data, sometimes you don't. It changes on the regular. I think about a year and a half ago when a lot of our customers were receiving emails, and within those emails, there were attachments, Excel attachments, and that was your data set. And now it's changed. And data is, you know, if you want it, you have to go to a portal site. It may or may not be easy to access, and data may or may not be consistent. So what was there today may be different tomorrow, and next week it may be something totally new. So what we really work with is to make sure that the data is in something that is standard. We're speaking the same language to begin with. So what we're looking at here are just some high-level visualizations, but I want to speak to the data normalization and the configuration that exists within Revidia, because I think that really sets the tone for how we're able to have such a powerful AI tool. So we see all of these different platforms. We see that there are 14 different columns for Amazon, only 4 columns for Freebie in this example, 5 columns for Plex, for example. And as we look here, we see that they have different header names, different nomenclatures. So what could be, royalty amount for Amazon may mean something different. There's different qualifiers. So what qualifies as a session on one platform may be different as to what qualifies as a session on another. So Revidia is really doing all of this powerful work to make sure that our users, our customers understand that sessions equal sessions. No guarantee that we're going to bring everything into apples, apples versus apples, but something a little bit more translatable and understandable. Revidia is also able to fill those gaps through different derivations, different assumptions, and really now make that data set more powerful. So I wanted to talk through this, bringing in that data ingest, whether we're bringing it in programmatically, whether we're bringing it in through an API, or whether we have to connect to a portal site, whatever the case may be, let's bring that data in. And now we can see the power of the Copilot. So what I'm bringing up here has a little bit of a different look and feel. This is what we're really excited to bring to market. We announced it in AB and bring to market later this year with our GA release. And you can see here, we're really now combining data sets, combining those linear data sets. Let's do those comparisons across your different revenue models. So how is Amazon performing on AVOD versus FAST versus TVOD? Is it the same? Are we trending in the same direction, or are there key differences that we need to pay attention to? What are those things that really matter to you as a user? You may care about strategy, wanting to know what you need to schedule. What are my data sets? Where another user may care about more revenue or finance or something like that, just closing the book. So really bringing in that custom user experience and then offering that Copilot as well. And I think this becomes really powerful. So, we bring up a couple different selectable prompts just to kind of get you started. But let's just say we want to ask it a question. I'm going to go ahead and say, what are my top trending titles? And while we let that, go through the full data set, let's really talk about what the Copilot is doing. So our Revidia Media Copilot is really assessing all of that first-party data that's coming in. What it's preparing is it's not only looking to provide those top trending titles, but it's also looking to provide context. So in this case, we see the top 3 titles that have the greatest spike in viewership, or 50 Minutes, 12 Angry Men, and SpongeBob Circle Pants. Obviously, this is anonymized data. But what the Copilot, the power of the Copilot really being for that media space is it can contextualize it. So it doesn't just stop there, right? It says the viewership of 50 Minutes increased by approximately 860 viewers. So it understands that a viewer is a performance metric. It understands then and interprets the findings. So this indicates that these titles have gained significant popularity among viewers in recent months. So the power of the Copilot isn't just typing something in and getting results, but how does that relate in context to your other results? Because as we know, this data is a little bit different. We have to continue to dive. So let's take it one step further. Okay, here's our top titles. Let's now see our, what channel has generated the most revenue in the last 90 days. So now we're starting to get further context, further information. And we see, okay, the channel that generated the most revenue last 90 days is Buzzer. This channel was viewed most on the Samsung TV platform. So again, we're not just getting that it's Buzzer. It's Buzzer on Samsung TV. And viewed least on Amazon, right? So then we see that context. When we talk to our different customers, a common use case is, I have to provide distribution with a quick answer, and it's taking hours to get it. because I have to go through numerous spreadsheets. I have to go through numerous prompts. I have to be able to filter out certain things. I have to be able to insert these qualifiers. Revidia has all of this information, and it provides, our Copilot provides that answer. You just saw it extremely quick. Let's just look, we saw what our top 3 trending titles are, but let's say what's our most popular title? What's great too about this is as you ask it more questions, as you insert more data, the smarter it gets, the more intelligent it becomes, really bringing that generative AI to the forefront. So now it's going to start understanding what questions you need answered and how you need those questions answered. So we see, even though it's not, a top trend, it's not in our top trending, we see our most popular title is Family Feud. It has the highest percentage of viewership, which is, contributing to 12% higher than our total library average. So these are just a few really exciting things, a few really exciting questions. We as an organization have been playing around with this numerous times, asking the Copilot so many different questions, and we're constantly amazed by the results and the interpretation that are presented back to us. When we talk about different data sets, we're really looking at those first-party data sets with the expectation that we'll bring in third-party data as this matures, and as we bring it into our standard data lake. So I think that, Ray, this concludes the Copilot demo, and I'll go ahead and kick it back to you.
Great. Well, Eric, I think we're going to open it up for Q&A, if that's okay.
Yeah, fantastic. That's amazing. Honestly, thanks for showing that demo, because that really kind of, I don't know, drove it home for me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I spent a whole bunch of my career in finance, believe it or not, back at Microsoft. And we thought we were super smart because we could pull all of our data out of our VAXs. Some of you may remember what a VAX is. Get it into text files and then drop it into a SQL Server database or something and build some VB tools on top of it. But it would take, like weeks and weeks to get anything. And then you could get the answer to a question, which was like, okay, how many units did SQL Server do last week? And you could get the answer to that. And that's what it took. This is stunning. Like, honestly, if you have this tool at your disposal, you're at a huge advantage, I would think.
Yeah. And I think that's,
started.
Eric, to your point, I mean, that's incredible. And I think what Revidia really has the power of doing is contextualizing it, right? And interpreting those data sets, and then not only presenting the answers back, but also saying, here's some other findings that we're able to present that support the answer. Because I think a lot of times it's like, well, I can just go in and I see, oh, Family Feud. Well, what does that mean? How do we know that? And I think what our Copilot does is it says, here's the why behind the answer as well.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. I mean, and that is what happens, right? You look at a number and you go, okay, well, it's down from where I thought it was going to be. You're not done, like,
Exactly.
No.
That's the beginning.
Where is it down the most, and so now you think your job is the person doing the double clicking on all of this, right? Well, their Copilot is doing that for you, so you can be the one that's interpreting it and actually figuring out what to do about it.
Absolutely. And these data sets are enormous. So let Eureka, let the AI Copilot go and dig down into those enormous data sets that it would take you or me, Eric, days, weeks to try to do.
And those are crappy jobs. People shouldn't do that. That's just awful. For all that data. We're meant for better work than that. Yeah, it's fantastic. So so if folks have questions, we'd love to get those into the Q&A bin. I have a question about the data sources that you've got for the Copilots to sit on top of. What sorts of data sources can you support?
You want to take that, Ashley?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the fast side, we think of that first party data set. We're thinking, your title, your full asset library, ad server data, channel originator data, and platform data, because we know that it's really the accumulation and the ability to look at all of those data sets together and kind of marry them. Unfortunately, ad server data presents a subset of your inventory share deals, where your platform data presents more of your rev share deals, and your channel originator really kind of brings it all together at that asset level, and you have to have that full blend. We're also looking, to bring on that third-party data. So there's absolutely no reason that we can't have, third-party data as part of the Copilot, and build it out from there. We've seen a lot of organizations that have spent so much time building out their own data warehouses. It's a huge investment, and our tool really can sit on top of any data set that is in a standardized, normalized capacity.
That's hugely important. So, as someone who has spent hours of my life I won't get back munging data and trying to get it in a standardized data warehouse, can AI help with that? So I've got one field that's called revenue, and I got another field that's called sales, and they're both the same thing, but do I really have to go tell the machine that those are the same thing, or is that something that AI can help figure out and get some standardization out of the data set?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. AI can help with that. Go ahead, Ray.
We can both answer. So, I mean, that's largely what, even prior to AI, that's what we do, right? So that's largely what we've been doing. And then on top of that, layering the AI intelligence to understand, revenue and sales is the same thing. Yes. Yeah. So very concrete yes there.
Yeah, fantastic. People are afraid of AI, and I think it's, maybe there's some things to be afraid about, but
with the guardrails, I think it's actually pretty exciting.
I mean, it really should just give us a chance all to level up, right?
Yeah.
And as humans, we're meant for more. Let's use our time on something that only we can do.
Well, spend the time on the strategy versus on the trying to get to the data to understand, where you can begin thinking about strategy, right?
Yeah, definitely. So let's see, we've got a question here from Jeremy Tipton. On the topics of data sources and security and privacy, do you have a single model trained against data from all customers? Interesting. Or does every customer have a distinct model so that the data never bleeds over between companies?
Ashley, do you want to take that, or should I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we take security and privacy extremely seriously. We are both SOC 1 and SOC 2 compliant. So that is a critical thing. I think what we typically try to do is we have different data silos so that the data isn't necessarily bleeding. One customer would never be able to view another customer's data. But we want to bring all of this data across different customers and clients into one larger space, anonymized, of course, but because it allows us to discover trends, it allows us to discover unique attributes related to the data set. So what we have often seen is that, what you may be getting, what customer A may be getting from platform A could be very similar in format, or it could be very different. And if we bring all of this together, our AI is not only able to provide those answers, but also provide those different exceptions, those different trends across the entire industry, which I think makes it more powerful. So from our perspective, we've done everything we can to ensure that no actual data is available to customer B from customer A. But we want to bring those full industry trends forward as well.
Ray, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned, during my section, so, we are taking security and these guardrails very seriously across the board, including this. It's one of our driving principles. So absolutely.
Yeah, I think, the fact that I'm glad this question came up. Thank you, Jeremy. That you are able to look at data from across multiple platforms and even different categories of content distribution and delivery, that can be a huge benefit just to the industry broadly, right? And not just an individual organization. That's something that at OTTX we should maybe talk to you about. Maybe there's something we can partner on there that can help our version of the industry, which is the streaming industry, CTV and OTT, and help maybe help the broader industry understand more about the value that streaming has.
Yep. And
super cool.
Yeah, and that's absolutely sort of within our purview, and of taking this data and anonymizing it and be able to draw insights from the data across across the industry where our customers opt in to do something like that. So
yeah, super powerful. Okay, so you obviously working with some pretty well-known companies. If you're not Netflix and Amazon, is this still something that would have value for you? If, like, say I'm only all I have is a couple of channels and they're fast channels on a platform or something. Is there still a value in using AI in I got a single engine Cessna, so how much of a co-pilot do I really need?
Right. Yeah. So that's a good analogy. So we are scalable. It's modular. So the solution's modular. So you don't have to be one of these organizations that has content across linear and across all the digital platforms. So it's scalable for customers from in a handful of platforms where are fast platforms or whatnot. So it's modular. So there's a fast only module. There's a AVOD module and down the line, right? So it's it can be utilized by, and then the challenge of data, you may not have a ton of data. You may not have the clout with the platforms that you're working with to get back a ton of data from them. So then you can leverage this third-party data that Ashley was referencing, to sort of triangulate in on the performance of your specific content. So yeah, so it has value for both large and smaller organizations.
Yeah, that's a really cool thought. The other thing is too, if you're a small organization, chances are you don't have an army of IT and finance people to munge all the data for you. So you might be doing
Very true.
Or someone else that's on your team that maybe you'd rather be doing something else is doing it. So again, kind of like get people doing stuff that machines can't do, and no matter what size you are.
Right. And the people you have may not have that data science expertise. So the beauty of making it, you can interface with this using natural language, right?
Yeah, data science, like data munging is not data science, okay? So all you're doing is munging. You need to rethink it, because there are people that are using science. Yeah. Okay, so you kind of touched on it a little bit, Ray. And I wonder if maybe we can dig into a little bit more how this might actually work, where I think even organizations that like have clout, whatever exactly that is, are not getting as much reporting or as many data points as they'd like to get from platforms. And we hear that a lot, and it's obviously something that's even bubbling into the news. How do you resolve that if the data is not there? How is you can put your AI on all kinds of stuff, but the data is not there. How valuable can it be?
Yeah. Well, if you want to really dive into this, you can watch the January OTT.X Wednesday webinar with SymphonyAI in Parks.
Good idea.
On the OTT.X VOD page. So yeah, so we talked about that quite a bit in that webinar, just all joking aside. But that is where we're bringing in these third-party data sources, and also just we encourage as we're all sort of maturing in this space and learning in this space. So when you're, up for renegotiating or whatnot, make sure that you're asking for the data, because it will serve you well going forward. But in lieu of that, not having it, sort of a solution like this that, leverages third-party data, leverages potentially sort of anonymized data across the platform, can help those folks that are lacking direct data from their platforms.
Yeah, it could be, this kind of a concept could be part of an industry solution to some of this as well. I think a lot of it has to do, the challenges here is, privacy of data. I think it's also, that could be a big deal, right? If you're a big company and data that you worked really, really hard to keep private finds a way to leak out somewhere and isn't private anymore, and it came from you, I can see why that's, I think we all can see why that's
right.
a really big issue.
Right, absolutely. Yep.
All right, cool. Well, you know what, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks a lot for sharing what you've got here. I'd love, that AI stuff. I just want, for some reason, isn't it? You just want to ask more questions and see what it comes up with. I feel like it's my TikTok. I could spend all day on it.
So much fun with that.
Thanks, Eric. So if people want more information, I just put up the slide here. You can go to our website, symphonyai.com/media. You can get more information on the Media Copilot, on Revidia. You can go to, or if you're ready for a demo and speaking directly with Ashley and her team and get a customized demo just for you, and go to this QR code or symphonyai.com/media/get started, and we'll chat with you.
Perfect. Hey, thanks a lot, y'all. Really enjoyed it. Great presentation. And thanks to all of you, our dear audience, for attending and for your continued support of OTT.X. As always, the session was recorded and it's going to be available on the OTT.X website at OTT.X.org. We've got a huge collection of presentations from our online and in-person events over the last few years. There's a bunch out there, so do go check them out. A quick reminder to everybody about our upcoming flagship in-person event, the X Fronts. It's being held on May 21st in Los Angeles. It's where everyone in the OTT and CTV industries, from ad agencies, platforms, channels, content providers, and technology companies, are gathering to learn about the latest trends in ad-supported video, share insights about the streaming industry, and learn about the latest content offerings from a wide range of platforms and channels in the AVOD and FAST business. There's a ton of buzz about this year's event. We're super jazzed about it. I hope you all head on out to the site and register if you're not already. Attendance is complimentary for all OTT.X members, which is also a fantastic reason for you to become one if you're not already. Again, head out to our site, OTT.X.org, or you can just send us an email at info@OTT.X.org. We'd love hearing from you. So that concludes our webinar today. Thanks again for joining us, and thanks to Ashley and Ray from SymphonyAI. Really enjoyed having you, and we'll see everyone in a week or so.
Great. Thank
Bye.
you.